Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Academy of Astrology UK. And today with me is a Monday, and I bet maybe Marcus will join us in a minute. But yes, hi. So, hello Monday. How's your
Hi
long
Rod, I'm good. How are
weekend?
you?
Not too bad. How's the long weekend?
Very nice, very nice. Had some family time. It was lovely.
Yeah, I think for those who are not in UK, we will say for us it's long weekend start from Thursday. So I was a little bit just want to double check with everyone. Say, are you sure you want to do this podcast live this week? Because would be everyone, someone will go aboard or something. And if you heard the news that a lot of a flight has been cancelled from EasyJet, from BA, and strangely, I didn't hear them blame Mercury retrograde, but I will do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it's not totally retrograde. It's stationary at this moment. It's tend to stationary at 26-degree Taurus. But it's a interesting degree, and I think a lot of people be very, very aware about that, lot of astrologer, because I think last podcast we did talk about that, about the fixed star align with the fixed star AOAUK, and that's the in the Perseus and in the mythology that represent Medusa's head. And I think study fixed star, one thing is very easy, to be honest, is if you can ignore, to be honest, that's what I like. If you can ignore the degree, because trying to
Yeah,
memorize their degree is so difficult, right? But if you love mythology and literature, fixed star is so fun. Fixed star is so fun because you really just apply mythology in the fixed star, and then you can make a very beautiful interpretation. That's what I like about fixed star. Oh, Mandy, I thought you have a book. What's the book? What?
Oh, nothing. I was just having a Mercury retrograde moment, and I had a pop-up on my laptop, and then I couldn't get back to the video, and I was just holding my book up while I was doing it. This is
I was
this
like,
is this is my Mercury retrograde lifesaver. Basically, just write everything in this, everything from the mundane to the ridiculous, so I don't forget.
wow. Wow. That make me think about some, like a fantasy movie or something, the Master's Handbook, the Master's Handbook, and all the people want to fight for that handbook, and there's a lot of secret written inside.
Well, they'll know how much money I've spent. They'll learn a little bit of astrology, and
Yeah.
they'll also know what I'm having for dinner next week. So yeah, it's a real page turner.
talking about page turner, I think if we compare the astrological configuration in the sky from last month to this month, there's a little bit different
Mhm.
things going to happen, right?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I think we've had Mars has gone into Aries, and
Mm,
at the end of May, May the 30th, we've had the new moon in Gemini at 9 degrees of Gemini,
yes.
and that's interesting.
Yes. Oh, Mandy, we lost you a little bit. Don't worry, you'll be back. Definitely, you will definitely be back with us very soon. Yes, I think the Mandy just mentioned about the Mars move into the Aries, and then that is not just simple, Mars move into Aries, because Mars will meet the Jupiter in Aries, will conjunct with Jupiter, and that I think it is something, because both planets have that kind of a explore energy, that is kind of a go forward, move forward in one way. Let's say apply in our everyday life, like if you want to use it for personal work or business, that is kind of very positive and moving forward energy. But if you consider as the mundane way and see the both planet, we consider today's situation about the conflict and war, that is a little bit tricky, to be honest, right, Mandy?
Yeah, well, what was interesting, I looked at the chart briefly for when Mars went into Aries, and it was actually conjunct Moon in Aries at the time, as well as the conjunction
Wow.
Jupiter. And of course, Jupiter exaggerates everything, and you put Mars in Aries, which is naturally it's an initiator of action and activities. It can be spontaneous, acting without thinking, risk taking, rash and accident prone, even can be quite aggressive, and that all those qualities. And you've said you've already said many of the positive qualities, because it's a strong Mars.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sign, one of the signs where Mars is at its strongest and can act in its purest way. You put it with Moon, and then you've got that emotional energy behind it as well. So acting on your emotions, acting out your emotions, and Moon Mars can tend to act out the emotions without really thinking about it. Just sort of, you start saying things or doing things without really thinking about it, without potentially thinking about the effect on other people, because it's that single focus with Mars in Aries. And of course, Jupiter with that as well increases the impulsivity, and it exaggerates that whole complex. And if we're talking about mundane astrology, I had a little look at the chart for
Mm-hmm.
school shooting.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so it was on May the 24th, and around about 11 a.m. local time.
Yeah.
And in the chart, you've got Mars at 29 degrees of Pisces. In that
Yes.
critical anaretic degree, that critical degree, which is the end of a sign. And of course, Mars in Aries takes it into the Aries point, where sort of the private becomes public. And what happens at the end of a sign, when a planet's at the very end of the sign, the 29 degrees, is the potential for the energy to build and then push, especially at the Aries point, push forward very forcefully into the new sign. And of course, that was when we had the school shooting, of course, and we've got Jupiter in Aries there,
Mm.
sort of exaggerating and making it, it was a big international story, of course, in Jupiter's internationalism. There are shootings every day in America, as we know. And
Yeah.
obviously guns as well is another, is a
Mm.
is a signifier of Mars too. So that's really, that was kind of an interesting sort of mundane thing that happened in Texas. I think that started about 11 or after 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Went on for sort of over an hour, and that's another controversy, that it went on for so long before police took action. Police, and the police as well, is something, is quite a Mars thing too. And then it went into later that afternoon. Mars did go into Aries, and as I said,
Yes.
it met the Moon in Aries that had also gone into Aries that day as well, which is really interesting.
I think it very interesting on that day. The first we noticed was the school shooting in Texas, and I heard about another thing happened at same day in Brazil. I think in Brazil there is the gunfighting between police and the gang. So there is a gunfighting, and I think also 20 something, yeah, similar, about 20 people die or something, and that was like a shocking at same day, just right before or between Mars moved between Pisces to Aries, and that was like stunning. Just that time, it gave us a view about the Mars energy, how it can manifest in our life. I mean, it's not just terrible things. It's not just gunfighting or blood or something. I think it's also, if we apply in our everyday life, I think we can use it. We can really use it to our work or something. Should we go to the new moon chart?
Let's look at the new moon chart.
Yeah. Let me share it. Here we are. I think this is the
in Gemini.
Yes, moon.
Interesting. I mean, one of the interesting things there is that obviously Mercury is retrograde in Taurus.
Yeah.
And Mercury is the planet that rules Gemini. So when you think about a new moon, when you think about Gemini things, you know, sort of curiosity, communication, that kind of thing, mindset. And when you think about the idea of the new moon, it's the dark of the moon. So what does Gemini like to do? Gemini likes to ask questions. The dark of the moon, where things are more hidden, and Mercury retrograde, where you know you might not get the right answer. So there's potentially for that new moon, we've got that idea of like, okay, wait and see. You're not going to get all the answers you need. You're not going to, you know, communications might go awry because there's two. And the other thing that I thought that was interesting when I looked briefly at this chart earlier is the new moon is actually a singleton. It doesn't really make any other aspects, so that makes it stand out even. That makes it stand out even more, kind of a standalone type of thing. So you kind of feel like potentially during that time, you know, and we're moving obviously to the square to the moon in a week, you know, in a week or so. But you've got that idea of potentially in a mentally or in a way in communication that of being unmoored, of kind of not being able to go anywhere. And of course, one of the big stories potentially in the UK, but also potentially, we've just spoken about it before we came in air, didn't we? Was what happened, air travel, for example, which is quite a Jupiterian thing, but it's also when you think about long distance travel is obviously a Jupiterian, whereas Gemini is more short travel. But I think although the last couple of years it's been slightly different, but generally speaking, plane travel is quite a regular thing. It can be kind of like short travel, you know, to hop over to, you know, if you're in the UK, to hop over to Spain and the USA to sort of, you're more likely to catch a plane to get to a couple of states along than you are to get in a car or a bus or a train, for example. So I do think that plane travel potentially does count as sort of short travel, and that's been disrupted, hasn't it?
I think this Mercury, I will consider it as a stationary, because it's stay in that degree. It's not going to move for a while. So, and it's the tricky degree as is Algo, is a line with a big star Algo. So it gives us a sense about which we are going to be, what should I say, going to waking up or shocked, scared. I think waking up would be more gentle way, because you're going to be scared. You're going to like, oh my God, things like this, because it's a Mercury in Taurus. You receive those messages going to make you scared, or make you aware how dangerous or how critical situation could be. And I think during last month, the world stock market was quite kind of wobbling, and now we can see they're going to jump back. But a lot of people give warning, say don't go there at this moment, because things are very tricky. It could be just, you know, just a up before it's falling down totally. And to be honest, I mean from a financial astrologer view or mundane astrologer view, that is true, because you got a Saturn in Aquarius, and the next year you got Pluto going to move into Aquarius, while Saturn moving into Pisces, and that is a huge thing waiting behind. If you know astrology, you are waiting to see those Nasdaq, those Facebook, Apple, and all these big tech company. You just say, hey, because the truth is going to be revealed, and that is most dangerous. I read a few the financial news. They are talking about the investor, those investor who invest a high tech company. Their performing was really bad last month. But I think Warren Buffett, he doesn't really go that way. He's always focus on those company, make sure they really have the the quality, good quality company, and those company can make money. He has no problem with that. His income, his performing still quite good, but those company have a really good profit or during those, when stock market going up and they invest on all the technology company, they just like their profit is so terrible. I said, you can see this. This is the sign because it will happen again. So I think this, and I really like the way you say about that moon is really the new moon without any aspect there.
Mm.
And that is kind of make people feel isolated because we know moon-like connection and the moon need to connect with people, connect with each other. So
Gemini also, doesn't it? I mean, the moon likes connection, emotional.
yeah,
Gemini
yeah,
likes that mental connection, that sort of communication connection, and it's kind of,
indeed,
you know,
indeed.
broken off. It's like, what are we not being told, or
Mm,
why is our baggage being? Why are we isolated from the things that we need when we
yeah,
travel? Bags going to
yeah,
different airports, for example, or not turning up at all.
yes.
Just
I think
like
I
travel
think this is a
crisis.
signature as it is a new moon, as it's on the new moon. So this is a signature for this month.
Yes.
Especially, I think especially
Mm.
if anyone have the angle or planet around the I would say the 4 degree to 14 degree Gemini,
Mm. Mm.
then maybe this group of people would be have more impact
Mm.
because this new moon is right conjunct opposite or square your planet or angle, and you're probably going to sense that longing for communication, for contact with someone else, and then just be aware about maybe before you blame anyone why they don't speak to me or why they didn't tell me this.
Mm.
Also think about how you're going to communicate it and how you're going to contact other people. I think that is quite important to make us aware, especially Mercury is stationary at this moment. So make us think again how important communication
Mm.
is. Yeah. Do you have anything want to talk want to add it up in this chart before we move to the full moon? I think I have to wait Monday a little bit. Yeah.
It's it's going to be harder to maintain objectivity.
Yeah.
It's very subjective. It's about what you think and what you feel, and might be
Mm-hmm.
harder to sort of balance that out with what other people think and feel, particularly for the reasons we've talked about, that Mercury is it's retrograde, stationary retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moon and the sun are not making any connections there to any other.
Yeah.
And have a look, really. I think I'd advise people to have a look at what house that
Oh yes.
which is a theme for the month. It's kind of, I think, astrologers that write say monthly horoscope columns would look at, so they'd look at the new moon, and that would be, that would set the store for the month. So for example, Aries would be the first house. Anyway, there's a technical way of doing these horoscopes. It's slightly different from the kind of astrology that we do.
Yes.
So that it's, so look at your chart and where in your chart that new moon comes from, and that
Yes.
where you might lose objectivity. For me, that falls in my first house, so that says a lot about my ego and how I go out into the world, and what I'm thinking about doing and how I project myself. That's
Yeah.
I might be thinking I'm giving an impression that's totally different from the impression that other people get of me. And
Yes.
then I looked at, just very briefly, because at the moment in the UK it's the Platinum Jubilee, so Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain and the Commonwealth. He's celebrating 70 years on the throne, which is reign, and she's had to drop out of today's celebrations because.
Yes.
And I looked, and that new moon actually falls in her fourth house in her chart, so she's at home. Instead of being out and about and doing all the things she was supposed to do, she's had to stay at home and watch it on the TV like most of the rest of us. Which is interesting. She's very old, I think, but anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Little
my
tip to
party,
look at.
but I have to stay at home.
Yeah. There she is.
Yeah. I make slightly mistake. I should put the B wheel. I rather I let me do it again. Let me do it again. Well, usually I don't. Yes, so yes, it's
Oh,
falling. Oh, maybe
oh, and
we use
the
different
chart that
charts.
you're looking at is different. It's falling in the fifth house. That's interesting. It looked at it was
Maybe I use different one. Maybe this is
uh,
because I don't know why. Well,
that's
maybe you use
oh,
the
you're
different house
using
system.
I use
Equal.
Placidus houses and you're
No, no,
using
no. This
houses.
the no. Let me redo it again. I usually use the I usually use Placidus, and then this is just dug from the file, so it's still unequal. Sorry, everyone. Let me redo it again.
Well, houses is a valid house system as well, actually. But
It is,
yeah,
yes,
I got
it
a bit
is.
confused. I got very confused then for a moment, but
I'm really
we'll be looking
sorry.
at confusion in a minute because it's also a signature for the moment for what's happening right now.
Yeah. Should I correct it, or let me do it, because I don't usually watch on the equal neither. So let me put it back to Placidus. So everyone will be happy, including myself. Oops. Ooh, I lost it. Sorry about that. Now we're back to full house. Just a moment. Here we are. Yeah, sorry about that, Mandy. Sorry to confuse you.
Yeah, there we are. I thought I'd made a Gemini
No,
real
I'm really
mistake there.
sorry. And
There you
very
go.
good. You're still quite sharp, to be honest. You very quickly say that's the equal house. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so yeah, she's had to stay at home.
Yes, that is very interesting.
Pluto in the Pluto transition. I know we're
Yeah.
going off on a side here.
We
Pluto
know,
transition in
yeah.
the first house is interesting as well for the Queen.
Yes. Yes.
Saturn too.
Yes. Well, that is pretty interesting. Yes. Okay, we talk about confusion because the next chart we're going to look, is especially for UK, but I think for everyone, for all around the world, is the same, because this is a full moon in a couple weeks time. In 10 days, the full moon on the 14th of June, the sun and moon at 23° Gemini, and the Sagittarius square Neptune at 25° Pisces. And that is from nothing, from the sun and moon didn't touch any planet. Suddenly, it's the
T-square.
Neptune. Yeah, a T-square with Neptune. And that's a lot of fun, to be honest. It's like you are self-isolated. Suddenly you open the door, you walk into the fairyland, you walk into the, a cinema or something like that. You're very confused. Am I still dreaming, or is this hallucination or something? Because that Neptune is going to confuse everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a full moon in itself. We talked about the new moon being the dark of the moon, and you don't not sure, you don't have all the answers yet. It's a time for renewal and refreshing and fresh planning a fresh start, but not necessarily putting plans into action. But here, obviously, the full moon, everything comes into full light. And that idea of kind of, the idea of the lunatic, people going a little bit crazy or partying a little bit too hard under a full moon. We could see drunkenness, I suppose, with that T-square, Neptune.
That would be a good night for a party.
That'd be a good night. It might be a good night for a party, but it might end in tears. It might start out nice, but end in tears. You never know. But I think that at the full moon, everything becomes clear, as I've just said. But everything is going to become clear in a slightly foggy, confusing way with that Neptune there. That's a T-square, and a T-square is a pretty powerful. It's a T-square. So you've got the opposition there of the sun and the moon, and they both make a square to Neptune. That's a T. Most astrologers know that, but for beginners, that's a T-square. You can see it clearly. Red triangle in the chart, and T-squares tend to manifest, when they're in the sky, and also if you have a T-square, which many people do in your birth chart, they do tend to manifest, they do tend to get acted out. So that's something that themes that we've been discussing already, we are going to discuss a bit more. What is really interesting is that it's you know, is that the moon and Mars, the moon and
Oops. Oh, sorry, we kind of lost Mandi a bit. Hello, Mandi. Oops. Well, this one is a little bit. Hello, Mandi. Yeah, we lost you a bit. You're back.
It's like a metalog today.
Yeah, you're back. You're back. Yeah.
I was just saying that T-square, I don't know how much you caught, but T-squares are quite a powerful aspect that to be in the sky, and also in our birth charts, many of us have them. They tend to manifest, so you tend to see the themes playing out in your life over your lifespan, if it's in your birth chart, or for an event like this, for example, you might see it in the news. But a full moon is looking for balance, and we do have a couple of things that might help balance things a little bit, because we've still got the moon in Gemini here. It's Sagittarian moon, and a Sagittarian moon wants to play, right? It needs to play and have fun and be adventurous, and you know that you've got that, still got that curious sun in Gemini that wants to sort of do lots of things and be busy, and then you've got that Neptune that kind of it's quite tiring, it slows things down, but also quite good for creativity. One of the things we've got now in this chart, you'll see that Mercury is now totally out of its retrograde, although it's probably still in its retrograde shadow, but it's not retrograde forward again, and it's at 0 degrees of Gemini, so it's to the sun. It's not quite a conjunction, but it's also Gemini's planet, you know, so that's good. And we've also got Saturn. Saturn also makes aspects to the moon. I think that's a sextile, and then to the sun, that's a trine.
To the sun,
so that's a bit more. That's hopefully find a little bit more balance. Or if you go out and play and have fun, this is just an analogy, obviously. If you go out and play and have fun on that full moon, because you know, people do tend to have more fun on, or want to do more, be more sociable, see other people, position, relationship stuff, and on a full moon, and you meet Neptune, so things get a bit foggy for whatever reason. You know, Saturn is there potentially to balance things out. It's potentially there also to sort of put a stop to things. You know, you're going too far. You know. So anyway, what do you think, Rod?
I think this Saturn play an important role to balance, like you say, to balance the Neptune, but also in a friendly way, because the I think with the trine and the sextile, I think it's not like slapping your face, hey, stop it. No, it's like maybe we should stop, or maybe use a very friendly way, say to seduce you, because I like the way Sultan Peking says the sextile is a bit seducing, you know, lure you to do something. It's not really like pull you, say, hey, go there, do it. No, it's like, should we do this? That would be fun. Yeah, okay, let's go home. Maybe it's more fun, you know. So it's kind of trying to lure you to be reasonable, to be more, you know, to be more reasonable, to protect yourself, or not be too crazy, I think. But I think it's interesting this because at this moment we have this Saturn Neptune semi-sextile. And this is the mundane aspect, to be honest, and usually related to the financial market. So we can expecting really, I'm not joking, because it's like a very, very good image. The Neptune is all those bubble, those fantasy, those bubble. Saturn going to crush it. When every time Saturn Neptune Another aspect. This is a small aspect. This is a minor semi-sextile. So I think it would be trigger a accident as kind of something we couldn't see or something those investors couldn't see, and suddenly whole coming down very quickly. And it would blame on problem or accident, a fat finger, something like that. A little bit like we didn't notice the dangers there, but accidentally we walk into it, and everyone trying to like, what's wrong here? And then, well, the more important one would be when Saturn conjunct Neptune in couple years time.
So would you say that whatever happens with this Saturn Neptune semi-sextile is kind of like the warning? It's the kind of preamble, the preview, the prologue to what's going to happen during the conjunction, because it's the last aspect before the conjunction, isn't it?
Exactly.
End of a cycle.
Yes, exactly. So put this in your mind if you are investor or if you are going to analyze anything related to Neptune and about the manifestation or about the realization about this Neptune energy. It's come to the end. So I think it will tell you like stop dreaming, be more realistic. But I think when you tell people do that, people probably not going to listen until they really see the problem on their hand. So this Saturn Neptune semi-sextile is an interesting warning, and only if you be careful listening and careful keep an eye on it. If not, you have to waiting until the Saturn conjunct Neptune, and you just like, oh no, it's too late.
I mean, would you say, I'm just thinking up another analogy here, when Saturn meets Neptune, for example, in a conjunction, something crumbles and gives way, and the floodgates open potentially. So would you say potentially this semi-sextile, it's to look for the cracks and a chance to potentially fix the cracks before it gets too late? Because I think once the floodgates open, like you say, it's like an avalanche, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it, well, most of the time I would say here is too late. I think usually I will say when they are maybe semi-square, so maybe a couple maybe maybe a couple months ago, when they have like a semi-square, that would be the time to fix. But now it's to the last aspect a little bit. I think maybe you can do it, but it's quite hard. It's quite hard, and I think usually this aspect is make us aware and let go more about, because this is like a more balsamic area, right? For the lunation, the last aspect here is already the balsamic moon aspect. So it's a little bit like maybe we should let go rather than save it. I don't know.
Another thing that I read about, I've read a lot about astrologers saying about the semi-sextile, and it's not an aspect that's been analysed or talked about a lot, although it has been discussed a lot more in mundane astrology. But because they're neighbours, they're in the next sign to each other.
Yeah.
You're next to your neighbour, but you don't see your neighbour. You see what's adjacent to you. You see what's in front of you. You see what's right on top of you. What is, you see who you live with. You, and you look around the corner, you can see who lives but you can't necessarily, your neighbour is there, but you can't necessarily see them. So again, that fits with kind of, that analogy fits definitely with what you were saying about it might be a bit too late because you can't really see, it's too late to see really what's
So I think this is the I mean it's very interesting to read the semi-sextile, this aspect. It's because I think for ancient astrologer, I'm not expert. Marcus will help us to with the terminology. I think it's called aversion. I hope I didn't misinterpret that. And also for us, it's like also in conjunction, right? In conjunction, the aspect between the quincunx and the semi-sextile, and they always have a little flavor about we couldn't really see through it. It's not exactly you can see, and it's always a blind spot. I usually say,
blind spot. Brilliant.
Yeah. And so I think these and this sun and moon trigger this. Well, although this is blind spot, but I think this month, this full moon will help us to see it.
Mm,
So
mm.
if you want to see it, I think, well, maybe it's too late to change, but you know what's going to happen. So I think we can still do the best to protect ourselves or to make decision, not going too crazy, not like, oh, we know something going to happen. I still decide to do
Mm.
a lot of crazy things. And I think this is this full moon about.
And perhaps it
Yeah.
has relevance for the cost of living crisis as well. I mean, we talk finance, the cost of living crisis. We all know
Yeah.
it's here, and we all know it's going to get worse. Unfortunately, we're
Mm,
told
yeah.
we're out of ideas on what to do about it, you know.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because we all talking about the energy price going up and the food price going up. Well, I was just thinking, they still have many people have money to go abroad spend the money to enjoy themselves. So, and I read a title, it's very interesting to be honest, but it's not in English. I don't know, in a Chinese media. And then I read it say, oh, it's a Jubilee Bank holiday. British people just temporarily ignore their what do we call it? The inflation and I was laughing, say, forget that. Oh,
Drink
I'm
beer,
not
make
sure.
merry.
Yeah, maybe what you can do. Some people say what you can do, but some people it's just like no, it's not going to happen. You never know. But I think this is also the warning from the Saturn Neptune, and we just like some people decide not to see it, and some people decide not going to recognize it.
Mhm.
But I think evidence is there, and with the chart, we should be prepared. I think we should be prepared, especially for UK. This chart in UK, we have all the planet on the angle, sun on the angle, moon on the angle, Neptune on the angle. You just like, wow, that is a wait and see. The next full moon, and I have to say, this is a super full moon. This is a super full moon. Yeah, the moon is in the pre-reach, so it's very close to the Earth. So on that day, if we're able to see the moon, I don't think we can, but if you are able to see the full moon on that day, is a super full moon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Super scary.
Well,
No, there's always a good side to everything as well, of course. I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at this, but you
yeah.
know, it's really good. I think with that Neptune on the full moon, it's good for creativity. It's good for sort of letting go and
True.
having a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's not great for sticking at things, I mean, like you were saying about people, we're being encouraged here now in the UK to celebrate and spend, and
Hmm.
hospitality industry, for example, the pubs, for example, that sell alcohol, which is
Yeah.
can be
That's Neptune.
are hoping to make a killing this season because of tourism coming back and Jubilee in
Yeah.
the UK and
Yeah.
elsewhere as well. So that's quite interesting. It's not great. It's all kind of mutable. It's a mutable T-square, so not great at sticking at things, right? It's
Yep.
yeah. Mm.
So maybe keep flexible too, keep flexible and then be aware about what happened around you. But this Neptune, I like what you say. Use this creative energy, and
Mm.
I think this would be, if you use it right, this could be a month of glamour. I don't know why suddenly when you talk about that, and I was just trying to think, trying to dig out few a vocabulary related to Neptune, and in a nice way. Suddenly I get this glamour. So maybe go to do some glamping.
Wonderful. What a great idea.
Yeah, what a great idea, right? Because it's glamour, it's glamping, and it's a Pisces, maybe on the seaside or forest, Sagittarius. That would be quite
Well,
fun.
Glastonbury Festival's coming back in the
Oh,
UK after all the big festivals around the world are coming back after a
yeah.
couple of years of them not happening because of
Oh,
COVID.
yes.
So that's
Mm,
kind of in mid, near midsummer, isn't it? That full moon.
yes.
It's going to be,
Yes.
yeah, festivals, music and the arts. Music as well is another big thing
Mm,
for tune, music and the arts.
Exactly.
So you could do worse than going to a gig, potentially playing some music. Yeah, getting glammed up, like you said.
Yeah, I think this is astrology. It's not only one thing, and tend to. I mean, I have to apologize when I'm reading the Mandi astrology. I tend to look on the warning sign. What you should be careful, and that's why I have to remind myself. Sometimes I would tell Mandi and Marcus say, "Oh, don't forget to mention something positive," because when I started, I will always like, "Oh my God, this doesn't look nice," but to be honest, astrology is a simple reading, and depend on how you apply the how your decision. Are you going to decide to use in a very gloomy, very dark way, scary way, and like be scared and not doing anything, or that is a positive way, and that is also the possibility to apply it, use your creativity, like we say the music festival and the glamping. It's all your choice. It's all your choice, and that is astrology. Is not just
Yeah, and also a T-square also brings problems to solve,
mm,
and
yeah,
creative. Neptune gives the opportunity potentially to be creative in how you solve problems.
yeah, that would be quite
Saturn there
fun.
as well. Saturn gives you a little bit of balance, a little bit more stability.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that definitely an opportunity there.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Mandy, and thank you, everyone. I think today we talk about the tunes of new moon and the full moon, and well, next week we will be our horoscope. So we will discuss about the mundane astrology. I think we are going to the Cancer Ingress chart to look about whole summer situation. So welcome to join us and our panelists. And then after that would be our Astro Night Live and then Fixed Stars. So we're still quite busy this month. We're still going on. And then I think next month is July. I think we are still discuss this. We're still talking about maybe we will do a pre-record because I'm sorry, next on 1st of July I will be away. I'll be visiting other colleague in Italy. So maybe I will need to pre-record this session, but we will send the message out on our channel or on our Facebook group. Okay, thanks everyone, and enjoy if you are in UK, enjoy your bank holiday, and if you are in around the rest of the world, enjoy your weekend. Bye. Thank you.